What's going on, guys? It's Ice here, and in today's video we're gonna make a tier list for every AD carry. It's gonna be so amazing. We're gonna see every single rank, every single champion. Is it a good champion to main? Is it a bad champion to main? Should you play it? Should you consider playing it, or should you just completely avoid it? This tier list is gonna be absolutely amazing. You'll love it. You're gonna have a lot of in-depth information about this tier list. So let's take a look at this. So first of all, Aphelios. So first of all, we're gonna actually try to put him as an overall tier list, and as an overall how is the champion right now. So the champion is around, I think, in my opinion, between B+ and A-, so somewhere here. Of course, we're talking about like high elo, sure, silver, gold. I mean, probably it's gonna be C tier. Sure, you play him in platinum and you don't have like 500 games on him, he's gonna be in C tier. Sure, if you play him in low diamond, maybe it's gonna be B tier. But I think that if you play in a reasonable elo, like reasonable as in an elo where people already have good fundamentals and they know what Aphelios does pretty well, he should be between B+ or A-, depending on how good the champion is. And of course, if a pro player plays this champion, of course he can also go to S-, depending on the team composition. But overall, I mean, usually the tier list really fluctuate based on the elo, based on who is playing them, the champions, and based on the composition as well. So for example, if like at the moment LeBlanc is A tier, let's say, but if Faker plays LeBlanc, LeBlanc can be S tier. But if Faker plays LeBlanc and his jungle owner plays Lucian, which is a really good synergy, the LeBlanc can be an S+ tier pick. So it depends on who is playing it, but we're not gonna go super in depth. Who is playing it, you know, what composition do we have, what rank do we have. So these are like all of the things that need to matter. I don't recommend this champion, so let's take a look if we should actually just should you consider playing this champion? Should you shortlist it? Should you avoid it? Or should you just play right now because he's like so good? I think that you should avoid it. If you're like below diamond, you should just avoid this champion. I don't think Aphelios he's a good champion, but it just needs so much time to actually, you need to put so much time and effort to actually make this champion. It's fun, and if you don't care about climbing, maybe you should do it. But there are other champions that are doing a lot better in majority of the ranks. And of course, Grandmaster plus Aphelios is a good champion to have in the pool for sure. So I think you should avoid this champion if you are again in the lower elo brackets. Ashe. So Ashe overall as a pick, she's between S- and A+, but I think is more around A+ or A. She's not bad at the moment, especially because most of the AD carry got nerfed, so she's very nice. But she's not as good as other champions that we're gonna see in the S tier. I think that for lower elo, she's absolutely amazing, and you should play her. Absolutely, I think this champion is really good in silver, gold, platinum, diamond, low diamond, high diamond. It's the best champion that anyone should actually have in the pool. So it's a must-have in the AD carry pool. If you want to have a good, well-rounded AD carry pool, Ashe, you can't go wrong with this if you just want to make a very well-rounded champion pool. So yeah, very good utility. She's good from behind. She has the build with the Trinity, still works very well. You can go Borg Trinity, or you can just go Kraken's Trinity depending on the composition. Some people also skip Trinity by going Borg right away. A second, it's a bit, so she's pretty flexible, and I think she's, personally I think she's A tier. I don't think she's really S tier, but I think that you should have this champion pool in your practice tool. So should you consider playing this? Should you shortlist the champion? Should you avoid, or should you go ahead and play it? I think you should shortlist this champion to be in your final pool, because it's a very nice champion to have majority of the elo, whether you're a Grandmaster or whether you're in bronze. Yeah, so between bronze and diamond, I definitely think Ashe is really good. Sure, if you play Master tier plus, then you should probably just go for S tier champions, which we're gonna see that are Zeri and other champions. I guess if we talk about Zeri, we're gonna put her in S tier. She's very good. Most of the AD carries that got nerfed, and she got buffed the last patches, so she's actually pretty good. At the moment, I think she's actually S tier. She's between A+ and S tier. I mean, she's really good anyways, like S-, worst case. I think she's really good for low elo as well. She's also really good for high elo. So whether you're emerald, bronze, or challenger, you should play this champion. Should you consider playing this champion? Should you shortlist, avoid it, or go ahead and play it? Well, I personally think that you can just go ahead and play it. I think it's a really good champion pool, and as like Ashe, let's say there are 2 champions that you have to have in your champion pool if you want to have like, or at least not that you have to have, but that you should you should highly consider to have them in your pool. And I forgot to actually mention when should you pick this champion. So Aphelios overall, he can be a decent blind pick in a super high elo, lower elo. I would pick him maybe with an engage. He's also fine with an enchanter. It just depends on your ability to play him, because around your guns you have a poke, you have all in. So if you're really good on him, he excels in poking, but he's also okay in all inning. So you just have to be really good. You can pick him with everything, anything, and also blind pick in solo queue if you're super proficient on him. And there are not really situations where you shouldn't pick Aphelios. I think he's a pretty good well-rounder again for super high elo. For low elo, it's a bit more complicated because this will all depend on your ability to play him. Ashe, blind pickable. It is true that in Challenger or Grandmaster and Master is not really so blind pickable, because they can just pick Malphite, they can just pick Blitzcrank, they can just pick Nautilus. But with below Diamond 1, it's okay to blind pick Ashe if you really have to. If you watch my tier list and if you watch my videos, you'll see that I always swap when I play AD carry with the support and jungle, even though it's objectively better to blind pick as jungle or blind pick as AD carry. I still swap with the support, even though sometimes he tells me, hey, but I'm the support, I shouldn't be blind picking, which is true. But for solo queue, I try to have a counter pick if it's possible to swap with those 2 roles. I never swap with the mid lane or top lane, but I try to have a good draft as much as possible. So yeah, Ashe, you can play her with enchanter, you can play her blind pick, you can play her with engage. She's really good if your team lacks engage, and you should avoid picking her if you see lots of assassin in the enemy team composition. Zeri is good every single case. It's okay in the blind pick. I think if you're super high elo and super low elo, good blind pick. Yes, it is true that you might say, oh yeah, but you know, Syndra, you know, Varus, there are so many champions that outrange her. She also needs a bit of setup. It is true. So I think that is for Challenger. You need a bit of setup, you need a bit of engage, you need a bit of some sort of power when it comes to your team. But I think overall, if you're super proficient on Zeri, you should be fine if you blind pick her, especially below Diamond 1. And after Diamond 1 you can, it's a bit greedy, but I think it's better than other picks. Yeah, you can say that, oh, but I heard I'm not saying in Challenger, I'm not saying in Grandmaster, and I'm not saying in LCS, ADC, or any pro league where people know what they're doing. If you play in a solo queue environment and you're below Grandmaster, so you watch the skill cap Challenger tips and tricks, guess what, most of the rules won't apply for you players, and this is why I designed a coaching program that is ready for you, so that if you feel like you're in Emerald or in Gold and you feel stuck, the coaching is specialized and personalized for you, for your mistakes. But if you truly want to improve and you want to get better, try out coaching, because the coaching can be just for you. Okay, Lucian, at the moment, I think he's around, well, I guess you could argue he's B tier really. I don't think he's really that bad, but he's probably B plus if I want to think about it. If you're really good on him, it's B plus, maybe A minus, but I don't think he's like ever more than A minus or B plus. It's true, you can say that, oh, but no, I play him always with Nami, and with Milio, he's an A plus champion. I agree. So if you play him with Nami, it's a bit different. If you don't play him, I mean, don't pick him if they have a lot of range, don't pick him if you don't have engage, you have so long range, you have to be faker in team fights to actually do something with Lucian in team fights. If enemy have Seraphim, Syndra and stuff that they are just gonna zone you, like Caitlyn, Varus, Ezreal, stuff like that, you do not want to actually play this champion. It's not so good, so I do not personally recommend you playing this champion with these champs. When should you play him? I mean, if you have engage, if you're super good on him below Diamond 1, he could be good, even though I would only pick Lucian with Milio. In super high elo, in lower elo, in for example lower than Diamond, you can pick this champion with engage champions. You just have to be careful, because if the enemy picks Ashe, you have to play a lot better than the Ashe in order for you to win, which if you're doing it, you can still win the game. So it's still a playable champion. Draven S tier without any problems. I recommend him super high elo, completely broken champion if you know how to play him. Low elo, I mean, you might argue, oh, you know, he's not good for low elo, right? He's not good for low elo. I think that he's good for low elo as well. Why? Because from my experience as a coach, nowadays gold players and platinum players, they have good mechanics. I truly think that, and since I coached like over 3,000 of people and what 600-700 only AD carries. I see a lot of people, they are silver, they are gold, and they have really good mechanics. So if you feel like you play StarCraft, you played CSGO, you played and you have good mechanics but you're lacking for fundamentals, you might give it a try to Draven because he's a good champion that, you know, if you have good mechanics you can climb. And of course, if you can't really climb, if you can't really improve, you should go ahead and try out some coaching to try to improve your fundamentals if you really want to improve. Yeah, Draven, I think he's a good champion. If you, I mean, I would recommend him to one trick pony if you want to like play only Draven, or worst case scenario just play Draven and one more champion that is gonna give you a bit of blind pick ability, which is Ashe. Like Draven Ashe would be really good, or Draven Ezreal would be really good because he's a blind pick, or Draven Varus, something that, you know, can be blind pickable, and then you have Draven which you pick most of the games. I think this can be you should definitely consider Draven in your main. I didn't really I think Lucian, you should avoid it. You shouldn't really consider playing Lucian in my opinion in this meta. Not the best pick. Vayne, I mean, she was really S tier, but after this patch I think she actually dropped to A tier. I personally think she's between, I mean, you can argue that in Grandmaster it's B+, or if you're really good it can be A-, but nothing else. So this is Grandmaster after the nerfs. But I personally think that if you're super good in below Diamond 1 and you don't pick her in like Varus or Miss Fortune or Caitlyn or Draven or Jhin in like super hard matchups, and you have a reasonable lane where you can farm, she can be A- plus, A- or A+. I think she's still okay as a champion. Yes, in Challenger, Grandmaster, you should never pick it in the counter matchup because you're gonna get dive level 3 on the bounce, so it's gonna be unplayable, absolutely unplayable. But yeah, for lower ranks below Diamond 1, if you have her, as long as you pick this champion, as long as you pick this specific champion in a matchup where you're able to farm, not into like Senna or, you know, stuff that are gonna zone you completely, and not with ward stuff that will completely roam, or Sona stuff that will completely be useless in the lane. You pick it with Thresh, with Blitz, with someone that, you know, has a bit of pressure. And if you can all in with Vayne, she's really good in early game. She's not as good as she was because her Q is nerfed and now you max Q. But overall, she's still a reasonable pick in my opinion. So should you consider playing it? Should you avoid it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you go ahead, just go ahead and play it? I think you should consider it. She's okay champion. Okay, sure, you shouldn't rely only Vayne because there are many drafts where she's not good. You should have a champion pool like maybe Ashe, Vayne, so you can have the blind pick ability, but you can also have the pocket pick ability, which is Vayne. So there is that. Okay, and yeah, as long, it doesn't really matter which support you have, as long as they don't have something that we can blame bully you. So true, you shouldn't pick her with Bard or Sona, but if they also have like Yuumi, Ezreal, or a lane that is easy like Twitch Yuumi, then it doesn't matter if you have Sona, you can pick Vayne. So it's really about what enemy composition has on the bottom lane. Nilah, I think she's always between B+ and A-. I think if you pick her with an engage, high elo, she can work really well, even low elo with an engage. I think she can teach you some fundamentals with like farming and playing safe. Personally, I wouldn't recommend anyone to play only Nilah because she doesn't really teach you so much about the game, like zoning control, all-inning, or other things. She's more teaching you how to play around your support, how to play safe, how to, you know, play around the enemy's range. You don't really all-in, you don't really zone, you don't really poke, you don't really do anything proactive. It's like playing Malzahar mid lane, which is a bit AFK. I think Nilah can teach you a few fundamentals, but I think that if you want to have a champion pool that is more well-rounded, you should play minimum 2 champions like Ashe Nilah, or Nilah with maybe Zeri, but Zeri is still safe, so then you want to play something aggressive like Ashe. So you should consider the Nilah if you really like her. If not, then personally I would avoid her. I think there are other champions that are just better, but if you like her, she's definitely playable and she's not a bad champion. I just think that you should just play Nilah and something else if you wanna improve and if you wanna be a well-rounded player. Varus right now, he's pretty much the same between B+ and A-. For super high elo as well, he was S+, but I think he got a little bit hit on the 2 AD per level as far as I'm concerned. So I think now he's A- or A. He's okay. I mean, low elo, super low elo, you should always play it. You can horn hit, you can do poke, you can do comet, you can do halo blades, you can do so many playstyles, but definitely super low elo, bronze, silver, gold, amazing champion, very good to play, very good to have in champion pool. So I would say it's a good blind pick, but it's also must have in the AD carry pool. It's also good for low elo, really good for high elo. When should you pick Varus? He's the best blind pick in the game because he has so much range, he doesn't have bad matchups, he works with every single support. You can argue that Blitzcrank Nautilus counter him, but Blitzcrank Nautilus counter every AD carry, I guess you can say. So I think he's really good, really good champion, and I think you should consider it, shortlist it in your champion pool, avoid it, or should you just go ahead and play it? I think you should just go ahead and play it. It's a really amazing champion, and he's also really good in the meta. Kogmaw right now, he got a lot of love, but he's not really, I mean, he's okay. I think he's okay. He can be considered a minus tier. I don't think he's really that crazy good. Personally, I think he's okay. Like, I think he's definitely a minus, maybe B for like a horrible player plays it. Super high elo, very situational pick. You can't pick it if they have lots of assassins, or if they have like Alistar, or they have a lot of stuff that can kill you. For low elo, he's an amazing champion. So if the enemy team has like Yuumi support, top lane Jace, and you know, mid lane someone that doesn't catch you, like let's say you play against Kale or Oriana, or not Fizz, not like stuff like that, you can definitely play it. I think you shouldn't avoid it, you shouldn't shortlist it, you shouldn't go ahead and play it. I think you should consider having him in a champion pool. Of course, same thing, I would have him and maybe Varus, or have him and maybe Ashe, like a blind pick, you know. But all in all, he is a pretty good champion, and yes, I would avoid him playing with enchanters that are too safe when they have like a lot of poke, Xayah, Karma in the enemy with Ezreal, and you pick this guy with Yuumi, you're gonna have a hard time. So I wouldn't pick him if the lane is completely over and you're gonna get completely pushed in, and I wouldn't pick him into lots of assassin. Other than that, you should be good to go. Ezreal is just an amazing champion still. I think if you are an average Ezreal, he's probably A minus tier or A. If you're a really good Ezreal, he can go to S minus, in my opinion, but probably the most honest is like A plus. So I personally think he's a very good champion for super high elo. You can pick him in engage, you can pick him blind pick, you can pick him when you don't know what to pick. When nothing works in the draft, you just pick Ezreal. It's that simple. For low elo, if you really like the champion and you're really good mechanically, you can play him. It's just you have to be really good mechanically, because if you're not that good mechanically, and you're below gold specifically, or even platinum, I think that he might hold you back, because you have to be fast, you have to do damage, you have to know and understand when to E forward, because with this champion you're gonna do damage by using your E forward, you're not just throwing Q and playing safe. So if you're super good mechanically, play StarCraft, CSGO, you're an amazing player, you know, you're Emerald, he can be a very good champion, and I think it's a must have in your pool. If you're silver, bronze, I think you should avoid it, and if you are like Grandmaster, I think he's a pretty good champion. Yeah, Sivir right now, she is actually getting she got a lot of love last patch. She's okay right now. I personally think she's A minus. I don't think she's better than Ezreal. I personally think Ezreal is better. Definitely for low elo, is a very good champion. It's a must have in the pool. If you're below Emerald, she teaches you a lot of fundamentals, such as playing safe, pushing waves. She also teaches you bad patterns. So I see 99% of the people that I coach that are main Sivir and that they're hard stuck, they stay too much on the side lane, they push too much, they farm too much, they ignore their teammates, they're not fighting. I press tab, they have 9 farm per minute, but they're hard stuck in silver. They are farming over helming it too much, and they are not really thinking about, oh, but maybe I should be with my team. So if you play Sivir, I personally think that you should try to round it up with champion pool with Tristana, or with a champion pool that is not, you know, more aggressive, like maybe Draven, so you can learn the aggressive playstyle on Draven or other champions like Tristana or Lucian. But then you can also play Sivir, so when you have a fight, you also have the tendency to move. I just see lots of players when they play Sivir, they always have this thinking of they can push the waves faster, and they do so many mistakes that they want to push more even though they don't need to push. They stay too much on the side lane, they just take too many camps when people are actually fighting in the mid game. So be careful, it's a champion that can develop bad patterns to you. But yeah, definitely very good. High elo, I would avoid her if they have lots of range. Yeah, I mean, she's really good for against engaged champions like Nautilus, Blitzcrank. She's not so good into Alistar, but overall she's a fine pick as long as they don't have Syndra mid lane. Then on AD carry they have Caitlyn, on top lane they have Jace and stuff that you're not able to hit ever. So I think other than that, you can pick her in super low elo, you can pick her a lot. Even blind pick, it's okay to pick Sivir. I think she's pretty good champ. The Jinx is really good champions for bronze, silver, gold, platinum for every rank, emerald for grandmaster. It's an amazing champion. I think she's A+. She's very, very underrated, but I think she's extremely good because she got a lot of love in the past and she got a bit of nerf after that, but then right now it's like after every AD carry got nerfs, Vayne, Varus, you know, they got nerfs. Right now the Jinx is actually pretty good, so personally I think she's A+, and I think any player should just go ahead and play Jinx. Honestly, like the perfect champion pool is Jinx, Zeri, and maybe just Varus. Like for low elo player is just such an amazing pool that gives you so much power, shows you how to play the game. You have poke, you have blind pick, you have pocket pick, you have hyper carry with the Jinx. You have so much power, and they're all good in the meta. Yeah, I think this is a must-have in the champion pool as well. Caitlyn is not bad. I think she's between B+ and A-. It depends on the player. I don't think she's more. I mean, if you're super low elo and you're very good on Caitlyn, you can definitely make her work and be in A tier. I think if you're grandmaster and you're like just an average Caitlyn player, she's B+. If you're super good on Caitlyn, she's probably A-. So she's not bad. Definitely you should pick her with long range support because you can zone really hard. She's also okay with the all-in champions because you can just put a trap there. You just like they hook and you just put a trap on the hook. You should avoid picking Caitlyn into big tanks like on top lane, Sejuani jungle and stuff like that, because you're gonna have a pretty hard time to kill them. But other than that, in the early game she doesn't really have so many counters. I mean, sure, Blitzcrank, Nautilus, but these champions counter every AD carry. So I think you should consider playing this champion for sure. If you're low elo, you should consider it because she's teaching you how to be aggressive. And if you're high elo, I personally think that Master Plus, there are other champions that are better than Caitlyn and more rewarding. Like for example, Ezreal, Varus, that are more rewarding in high elo, but in low elo, below Diamond, I think she's a nice champion. I think you can consider playing it. Jhin, I mean, he was always fine. He's always fine. Silver, bronze, gold. It's exactly like Jinx. You have to have if you're lower than platinum, you have to have this champion in your pool. Jhin is really good. You might say that, okay, from my experience, also Jhin players, they are very bad at kiting. They don't really have mechanics. They don't really, because Jhin kind of develops bad patterns for you just because he has only 4 shots, and the playstyle of AD carry, the traditional playstyle of AD carry, is not so you know, it's not so used. So if you want to main Jhin, he's a very good champion, but try to main him as you're maining someone on hit. Like maybe you play Varus on hit and you play Jhin, or maybe play Jinx on hit and you play Jhin as well, or Ashe Jhin. If you play only Jhin and you're only playing Jhin, I think he will develop bad patterns to you. High elo, you should never pick this champion in draft where they have tanks, or they might pick tanks. Below platinum, you should always pick this champion. If you can pick him, if you can avoid picking him into tanks, that's fine. But personally, I think majority of the cases below diamond, you should be fine even blind picking Jhin. Kaisa, definitely insane crit. There is a static shift build. There is obviously the AP build with Ludens. There is the Kraken Slayer build, absolutely amazing. Of course, the Ludens build I think is the best, but there are other builds that pro players also use it right now. As I said, with the static shift, she's probably the best champion in the game right now. She's probably, oh actually I forgot about Smolder. I mean, yeah, okay, she's the best with Smolder. She's really good. Engage support, you need to pick this champion. You don't have engage support, no problem, you can probably just go AP and you don't need the setup, you don't need an engage support because you have W. She's straight up super good champion. She's also very fun. So I think for low elo, as long as you have some fundamentals on this champion, generally speaking, if just the AD version of Kaisa was good, I don't recommend it for low elo, because low elo they need to understand better what back to front is, what playing for the backline, for killing the backline is, and most of them they don't actually know that. So I don't recommend Kaisa for the AD users. But if you know that, you know, hey, I don't have setup, I'm gonna play AP Kaisa, or hey, in this situation AP Kaisa is better than AD Kaisa, and you kind of have a good understanding about, you know, when to pick the champion, I think it's absolutely fine. And she's S tier, silver, gold, platinum, she's very good, very good. Grandmaster plus, definitely very good champion, very good champion, very good champion. I think you should definitely just go ahead and buy and play it. Miss Furton, I think MF is okay. I mean, I think she's B+ or A-, like same thing. I mean, for low elo, she's absolutely one of the best champions in the game. Like MF, Varus, they're the best at maining in low elo. If you're below platinum, you have to have this champion in your pool. For high elo, she's only pretty situational. Into tanks, you should never pick this champion. But if the enemy picks Vayne blind pick, and you know they have no tanks, MF is just gonna completely obliterate Vayne. So in high elo you can do this kind of draft to just try to bully the enemy. In low elo you can pick this champion, even blind pick. I think she's pretty good. If you understand how to use your ultimate, it's pretty good. So I think you should really shortlist this champion for low elo. And for high elo, I think you should just, well, I think you should avoid it. I don't think she's like better than other champions. I would even put her in B tier here. Okay, Karthus right here, only for high elo. I mean, he's probably A tier, but it's only for high elo, so I don't recommend it in below Diamond 1, this champion. Samira, she's definitely good. She's A tier. If you're really good on her, she can also be S- tier, and you have a good draft, S- tier. But in low elo, below Diamond, she's probably B+, I think, or A-. If you have an engaged composition and you know you have Nautilus on support, mid lane you have Fizz, jungle you have like someone that is like, you know, going really aggressive and he has a lot of CC, like say like, I don't know, Leona, or not Leona, maybe Kragas, you can definitely pick this champion. I think you should avoid it for low elo, below platinum and diamond you can if you have a really good composition, but I think you should avoid it until Diamond 1. You need a lot of setup, right? And there are other champions that are better. I think for super high elo she's very good and you can consider having her into your main champion. I just think that for example, I would rather have Ezreal in my pool than having a Samira, because Ezreal can pick in most of the champions. Or if you want to have a situational champion in your pool, I would rather have a Vayne in my pool than having a Samira, personally, you know. But she's not a bad champion for sure. She's actually good in the right situation. Okay. Good. So what do we have here? Smolder, super good, even after the nerfs, absolutely broken. If you play low elo, if you play high elo, he's very good. He's gonna teach you how to play safe. He's gonna teach you how to play also around your stacks and be patient. I would personally have a champion pool with Smolder and someone more aggressive like Varus, or Smolder and Caitlyn, or Smolder and Ashe, so you can have some well-round ability in your champion pool. So definitely this champion is pretty nice. He's S tier 100%. I think Kaisa and Smolder are best champions in the game right now, and then Draven, Zeri, they come really close after. I think low elo, very good champion. You should definitely go ahead and play it for low elo. For high elo, the same. You can't play League of Legends in high elo without having Smolder. I always ban him because I can't play him right now, but I'm gonna learn him anyways. So it's very I mean, he might have some problems against long range though, but I think it's doable as long as you're not losing too hard on the bot lane. That's for high elo. And then he might have some problem against like heavy engage. If they've Kalista, Nautilus, and you have like someone that is really weak on support like Yumi, you might be in trouble. But if you can scale, he's always like absolutely insane. Xayah at the moment, I think she's B+. I don't think she's really anything special. I think you should pick her if like enemy team composition, they all come into you. They Fizz, mid lane, top lane, Kassadin, Malphite and Jax and stuff like that. They come into you and you can utilize the ultimate as a counter pick. Xayah is fine. I would recommend her below platinum. I would recommend her more after the emerald. And in super high elo she's okay as a champion. She's probably A tier if you play quicker in a good composition, but in for low elo I would consider to, like, if you're below emerald I would avoid her. If you're more than emerald, or like emerald, high emerald, mid emerald, you can play her. If you play her in the right draft, I don't think she's a bad champion. Okay. Tristana is actually pretty good. I would put her in the A tier. Why do I put her in A tier? She actually got a bit of love as far as I'm concerned from the last patches. Let's actually try to see Tristana lol wiki. I think overall like the other champions got nerfed and she's always been there. She's always been alrighty. Okay, so just 13.16, so a while ago for sure. Yeah, so I think she's okay as a champion. Definitely A tier. Low elo if you want to play her. She's absolutely amazing to have in your champion pool, especially because you're gonna have the well-round ability. Just playing the Tristana, it's really good. Why? Because you can actually play aggressive, and if you play Smolder, Zeri, these champions are not going to teach you to play aggressive, they're not going to teach you limits, they're not going to teach you the game. But Tristana, by going aggressive, by testing limits, you're going to see the game in a different perspective, and you're going to work on that well-round ability. So I think Tristana is a very nice champion to have below Emerald in your pool, and after Emerald she's also really good. So I think that if you pick her in the right composition and they don't really have overwhelmingly a lot of disengage like Janna support and stuff like that, and they don't have a lot of range or a lot of poke in the lane like Senna in the enemy team with you know, Ezreal and stuff like that, I think Tristana is also good for high elo. I think for high elo you should consider maining this champion. For low elo you should definitely shortlist it. So I think that's like below Diamond, definitely you can have Tristana in your pool, and then after Diamond 1 Grandmaster Masters, I think you should consider having this champion. For sure Senna, I mean, even after the nerfs, personally I think she's between A+ and S-. I think if you ask, like I saw like some challenger streams, and the challenger 1k LP guys, he said that he doesn't really feel the nerfs on Senna after 2 items. So I think that is just a nerf, you know. She's weaker, she was S+, right now she's probably below between A+ and S-. I think she's really good. I don't recommend her necessarily for low elo, even though she can give you easy LP. For super high elo you must have Senna in your champion pool. She's a very amazing champion. She's pretty weak in the first 3 to 4 levels, actually even more, but if you don't completely get stomped in the first 4 level and you pick her in a decent composition where you can survive bot lane, let's say they have Janna or Seraphim or Prom, stuff that, you know, they can't really do much or all in you so hard, you should be okay with her. Below Emerald, I mean, you should consider having this champion in your pool as a 3rd pick. Maybe in super high elo you should definitely shortlist this champion because he's a very nice champion, for sure. Okay, Kalista. I mean, Kalista is definitely between A and S-. If you pick it for super high elo, if you pick her with the Nautilus, Thresh, Blitzcrank, she's always playable, always good. I would avoid her for low elo because she needs a lot of setup, but for high elo she's definitely playable. So with engage support, if you're super good on Kalista, it's like a really good champion. So you should definitely consider maining this champion in super high elo and avoid it in lower than Diamond elo. Twisted Fate is definitely still A+, is a very good champion. I don't recommend for low elo, but I mean, if you want to have some fun you can. Even so for high elo he's okay. I mean, I would like to not talk about like Seraphim and, you know, Twisted Fate in the Tierlist and Cassiopeia and stuff like that. Twitch is always good. I mean, he's probably A- to A+. If you pick it with Lulu, probably S-. I think you can consider it to play in low elo below Diamond, and you should avoid it in high elo. I think there are other champions in high elo that you can play at right now rather than Twitch, but in low elo, if you like him, you can consider picking this champion. Yeah, thank you so much guys for watching. Remember that these videos are actually updated a lot earlier on the Patreon. On YouTube they're actually placed a little bit later. On Patreon you can also find more videos about AD carry. Of course, if you want to get better, if you really want to improve, SoloQ coaching, you can't go wrong with that. And obviously I'm also live 6 days per week on Twitch, besides LOL, so you should check out there. I'm playing in Master Tier on AD carry, on support as well, so, and I'm doing education content, so you really have to go on Twitch and follow. And of course you can also get an OPGG review there on Twitch, so you just have to ask it. Thank you so much guys for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.